Hey guys, welcome back to Reason Rises with myself, Doug V. This is episode 3 of Draining the Zone. Just a couple of quick things to get out of the way first. Number one, it absolutely kills me that for some reason my mustache looks like it disappears. I don't understand what that little camera trick is, but yeah, it looks like maybe it's just a little more blonde on that end. I don't know. In any event, I assure you, I don't have half of a Hitler stash. This is just it's the way that I look. Number two, I did want to give a shout out to a few of my specific listeners. Chris, number one, Chris from the old. I want to thank you for listening. Thank you for giving me very valuable feedback that I take seriously. I will take a little bit of issue with the word levity. Maybe for some other time, but I don't feel this is a time for levity, and that's really just not what I'm aiming for. But I appreciate that you think that I can offer levity, and one day maybe things will chill out a little bit more, and there'll be some time for that. But I feel like we're not there right now. Chris, number two, from the Hey man, thank you so much for being a listener. Thank you for giving me feedback as well. Excuse me. I hope that you got the email with the episodes that I thought you would find pertinent. And oh, hey baby, who's the other listener that gave me feedback? Who? Oh yeah, Bill. My buddy Bill. Bill. Thank you, man. I really appreciate the fact that you listened, the fact that you shared. That's really important. And I don't know if you've noticed, but in the last couple of episodes, I did take the biggest piece of your advice. So I hope we can move forward on that. And I just really want to thank each and every listener that we have and viewer. Dear viewer, dear listener, you guys are obviously the only reason to do this in the first place. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for giving me feedback. We are going to try and keep this as quick as possible because here's the thing. This is supposed to be a short segment. It's supposed to be just going over the stuff that fell through the cracks. But the unfortunate truth is there's just so much every single day. It can't be done super quickly, but I'm going to do my best. Today, here's the list because we haven't done this particular style of episode, Draining the Zone. We haven't done this in 3 days, I think. So this is what I picked out that is worth mentioning tonight, but don't worry, we're not going to hit every single one. And I'm going to be as quick as I can on most of them. So I'm still trying to figure out what the format of this particular series should be. It's difficult, guys, because I don't script anything. It's all off the cuff, and I just kind of go with what feels right, and I try and gauge what the audience wants, and I know what you guys want. At the end of the day, is to be able to get on with your life and still catch these stories, so to speak. So I'm gonna try and make that possible. I'm gonna do my best, and I will include links to what I'll do is so if you're watching on YouTube. Go ahead and look down in the description. I'm going to include links to every story that I mentioned tonight, which means I'm going to need to, mark them somehow, the ones that I specifically mentioned. So, give me just a second. I'll be right back. So, number one here. We're starting backwards. We're going all the way back to January 6th, so I'm starting at the bottom, working my way up here, and we are going to cover this one. Trump White House launches stunning January 6th website. That's from Mediate. Yeah, this website really is stunning. You should take the time to go and look at it if it's still up. I haven't checked if it's still up, but long story short, it is what you would think it would be. It's basically a website stating that the January 6 rioters were, of course, peaceful protesters, that it was a day of love, that it was, that it I'm trying to keep this as short as I can tonight, so I can't dig into it too deeply, but again, it's what you think it would be, whether you're MAGA or you're on the other side. It's exactly what you think the Trump White House would put out regarding January 6th, on the anniversary. And of course, it made a lot of us feel like puking. This next one's kind of fun. So this one is from Common Dreams. After claiming Maduro was its kingpin, the DOJ now admits in court that Cartel de los Soles isn't a real group. This is kind of funny, guys. So basically, part of what the case against Maduro was hinging on was that he was part of a specific drug cartel, and who knows who else they were claiming was a member of that cartel. They mentioned it as Cartel de los Soles. Shortly before the first court hearing, they went ahead and quietly pulled that cartel part out. And we weren't quite sure why until we found out that Cartel de los Soles is literally just a slang term that's used by Venezuelans on the street when the federal police are pulling up. So any branch of the Venezuelan federal police pulls up, they say, "Oh, Cartel de los Soles is coming to get us." What they mean is they're referring to the fact that they have a sun on their uniform, a patch that shows a sun, and it's just literally just a slang term. It's like if we called the cops the blue gang or whatever, and the cops are coming around the corner, and you say, "Oh, the blue gang's coming, we better run." It's literally the exact same thing. So they just quietly pulled that out of the indictment or out of the charge, whichever it may be. So that's kind of silly and more of the same, just a fucking inept DOJ that does ridiculous because they can't pull their heads out of the desk. And I really apologize for the cussing because that really adds to the amount of editing that I have to do here. And Bill, I am sticking to it, man. Oh, this one is, come on, man. This is so disgusting. All right, so from Alternate, Department of Interior alters rules to void annual passes if visitors cover Trump's face. You guys, I'm sure, are all aware of, I think they're called Golden Eagle passes or something like that. I'm not sure exactly what they're called, but if you are elderly, if you're on Social Security, if you're disabled, if you're a student, there are all kinds of reasons you might wind up with one of these passes, or you can just purchase them. These passes that get you into all of the national monuments, all the national parks, etc., etc., and give you discounts. They actually are a fantastic deal, and the Department of the Interior actually could use the money for taking care of some of our parks. So I'm not discouraging people from getting those passes. However, the Department of the Interior altered the rules to void them if there is anything that is defacing or altering that pass. What they're really trying to avoid is apparently the new one, if you've seen it, and I'll throw a picture of it here on picture in picture. So, yeah, that pass right there. They obviously put Trump's face right about in the middle. People were taking stickers and putting them over Trump's face. And exactly the same way that if you go to North Korea and you take a tour of North Korea, you have to be watched by a guide, you have to be watched by a keeper and some guards from their federal agencies. And if you stand in front of a picture of the great leader, they will say, "No, no, no, you take no picture. You cannot block the great leader. The great leader's face must show at all times." Welcome to North Korea, guys. Our leader is literally so petty that we are not allowed to cover his face on our park passes, or else that pass is invalidated. Which means even if you are elderly, disabled, etc., you either need to be able to cleanly pull that sticker off, or if the pass happens to get damaged while you pull that sticker off, apparently they're requiring you to go and get a brand new pass. So that's super American. Anybody who has studied the Constitution and is familiar with the entire idea behind America, they know that there's one thing that we do not allow here in the United States, and that is free expression of your opinion or any action or speech which the great leader, excuse me, president might not like. So yeah, that's happening. I mean, welcome to 2026, guys. What the right? I mean, seriously, welcome to 2026. You live in America, you're an American, you've been living with these rules and ideals your entire life, just like me. And now you find out that you can't cover the great leader's face or else they'll invalidate your fucking pass. Not allow you to visit national parks. This is a much bigger story than it sounds like. It sounds like just, something silly or negligible or something you can ignore. It's not. This is just the bald-faced tearing down of what makes America America in the first place, which is the ability to be as critical as you want of any leader you want in any way you want, so long as you're not causing harm to anybody. Truly unbelievable. Whoever sent this next one, it just says Reuters. Guys, if you are sending through articles, and we so much appreciate it. If you want to be one of our article submitters, please go to the address at the bottom of the screen. That's trumpnews.info. And please become a submitter. If you're going to do so, please make sure that the gist of the article is somehow included in your link so that I can quickly cross-check it with the articles I've actually been through during the day. Now, this one's a little bit confusing to me because it conflicts with one other one. So I've got one here that says how oil and tech giants bought Trump. That one probably relates. That's actually a YouTube video. I did not watch it. Thank you to whoever sent it. I'll make sure to watch it. But I already kind of know how that happened. And anybody who missed my previous couple of episodes, look into how funds are used from inaugural funds. They are not the same as donations to a campaign. So inaugural funds can basically be used for absolutely anything. You can accept just about as much as you want, and nobody can keep track of what you do with the money, at least in any legal sense. So go look that up. But again, that is kind of connected to this one that I noticed was up here. Trump's oil company talks before Maduro op spark fury. That one is from BuzzFeed. However, it's just kind of they condensed a bunch of other articles, but it's just obvious what they're talking about. So, long story short, the oil companies, or at least the big three that are not already operating down in Venezuela, not counting BP, were notified ahead of time of what was going to happen with Maduro. And here's what's weird about that to me is, in recent days, it's come out that the oil companies, particularly the CEOs, etc., are like, we're not sure we want to do business down there. Like, we're not sure we can even revive that infrastructure. We're not sure we can turn a profit. We're definitely not sure we can do it in an amount of time that is going to be within this administration. And we don't know if the rules are going to change, etc. So they're not sure this is going to be profitable for them. So Trump's whole thing about going down there, aside from the fact that Maduro did a dance making fun of Donald Trump, which is a true thing, and according to sources close to Trump, when he saw the video of Maduro making fun of him dancing, that was when he decided to actually greenlight this operation. It was already planned. It was already going to happen. It wasn't because of the dancing, but the timing apparently was, oh yeah, you want to make fun of my dancing? Fuck you. We're coming in. In any event, apparently he spoke with the oil companies ahead of time, and they said, yeah, we're not sure. That we don't know if this is what we want you to do. And they decided to do it anyway, and he still goes out in public every day saying, this is, the oil companies are going to clean up. This is going to be amazing. Turns out even that promise might have been based on, we don't even know if it's going to happen. So that's not great. This next one also from Reuters, but I have no context, so I'm gonna have to mark that one out. We know about the immigration operation in Minneapolis. This one's from the Daily Signal. White House weighs executive order preventing government from taking kids from parents who oppose. Crap, you know what? That one is I remember that one being important. Let me just look this up real quick. Don't worry, I'll edit this out. Give me 2 seconds to look for this. Okay, I'm back with you. Now I remember. So exclusive, again, this is from the Daily Signal. White House weighs executive action to prevent the government from taking kids from parents who oppose gender transition. I know there's like a lot of double negatives in there, so it's like hard to figure out. So the White House is considering putting out an executive action that would not allow the government to take any kids from parents who oppose gender transition. Now, again, those double negatives are really throwing me off. What they're trying to say is, man, this is difficult. Give me a second. The Daily Signal, not famous for having super clear headlines. Okay, I think I finally got it. So I'll read the paragraph plain and simple. And honestly, I'm not going to have commentary on this one. But I'm going to read the paragraph. A conservative coalition led by parental rights activist Aaron Friday has met with the White House's Domestic Policy Council to work on a directive establishing that parents should not risk losing custody of their children if they don't affirm their child's chosen transgender identity, Friday and other coalition members told the Daily Signal. The coalition has provided detailed recommendations on the executive order and is urging the president to act quickly. In addition to the executive order, members of the coalition told the Daily Signal they are lobbying Congress to hold a hearing featuring parents who have lost their kids to gender ideology. Oh, Jesus, lost their kids. As well as pass a bill similar to the executive order. Again, I'm not going to have a lot of commentary on that one, except to say if you have lost your child to gender ideology, I don't think that's the child's problem. I think that you have given up on your kid for one reason or another. And I think that even if we do find our kids wildly misguided, even wildly misguided, don't be a piece. You still take care of your kid. You still support them. You still try and understand what they're going through. And even if you completely disagree with it and want to disavow them of whatever their beliefs are, one thing you don't do is just, give your kids up. Just, that. Let's move on from that. Okay, so Republicans on board with Bondi impeachment. Yeah, looks like there are at least 3 Republicans who are starting to come on board with impeaching Pam Bondi. So, if you want to look into that, look into it. If you are a MAGA person, I'm sure that comes as news to you because they aren't covering it in your bubble. So I'd look that up. Let's see. Stephen Miller. Yeah, he said something dumb. That's always happening. White House unveils. Yep, we knew that. ICE confirms officer fatally shot. Yep. Ooh, this one's fun. Jimmy Kimmel takes the cognitive test that Donald Trump aced, and the results spur more health questions. Anyone who knows anything about or has been keeping track of the stuff Donald Trump says, he's always bragging that he passed this test that he equates to essentially an IQ test, and he always says that nobody else who is a presidential contender or former president or what have you would even be able to pass this test. He's always accusing people, that they or not accusing people, but daring people that they should be trying it, etc. Well, Jimmy Kimmel took him up on it, had an actual doctor come in on his show, showed the entire thing. He took the cognitive test that Donald Trump took, which, by the way, is the Montreal assessment. It's he's always bragging about it again, like it's an IQ test. This is something that you only give to people if you're afraid they're getting dementia. Okay, it has questions like, can you draw a clock? Can you tell the difference between a lion and an elephant? Remember these 5 words. I'm going to ask you in 10 minutes what these 5 words were. I want to have you repeat them in order, which is hard. Um, yeah, Jimmy Kimmel aced it. Absolutely no problem. Got 100%. Of course, Donald Trump would say, I got 1,000%. But Jimmy got 100%. Actually did do it perfectly, and we all got to watch it on camera. This is seriously, you guys. This is a test for morons. It's not. No, let me. I'm not being disrespectful towards anybody's grandparents or disabled family members. I have my own grandparents who had to take the Montreal test, or had my own grandparents who had to take the Montreal test. What I am saying is that if you are a young person and you're trying to say that this is the equivalent of an IQ test, I'm sorry, you're a moron. They are only giving that to you because they don't give it to you. They're not going to give it to you. They only give it to people they're worried are going senile. But hey, he loves to brag about it, so Jimmy Kimmel went ahead and aced it. Um, this one is great. You guys have to go see this. This article is actually from Alternet. However, I actually saw it on YouTube. You have to go and watch this. So Mehdi Hassan demolishes Trump's hypocrisy on Minnesota fraud in 60 seconds. Basically, Mehdi Hassan just went on and said, look, you want to talk about fraud? We're talking about, a few $1,000,000 here that may or may not have been fraudulent. And even if it is, how about we talk about this fraud and this fraud and this fraud and this fraud? And he really did lay it out in under 60 seconds. In fact, I'm going to put a link to that specific video, or I'm going to put the search terms right here at the bottom right now so that you guys can go and watch that. It's a fantastic short video. Let's see, that one, we'll skip it. Kristi Noem warns Gavin Newsom DHS is headed his way. Yeah, the government is not jackbooted thugs that are just there to do the bidding of whoever happens to be in charge. That's just not what it is. It's a representative of the people. That's what the government is. And right now, many more than half of the people are unhappy with basically everything the Trump administration is doing, from immigration to economics to foreign affairs to domestic affairs. Look it up. They're underwater on every single one of them. And this lady wants to be warning Gavin Newsom, a governor within our country, that DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, is headed his way because of stuff he's been saying. Is this, I mean, if you're okay with this, you don't understand what it is to be an American. You absolutely are not a patriot. And I would put it up against anybody any day to take what I just said, talk to any professor who's educated in this area. You don't have access to a professor, stick it in any LLM, what I just said, and we'll let it kick it right there. Minneapolis mayor demands ICE leave city. I covered that in the previous episode, so I'd love it if you guys go watch that. Remember to subscribe, remember to like, remember to comment. Let's see. Okay, we're done with that page. We're moving right along. Lack of oil aboard Venezuela tanker seized by U.S. raises eyebrows. I'm sure a lot of you guys remember that there was this tanker being followed by us for, I think, weeks. It was previously called the Bella. It's now been renamed the Marinara, I believe. They tried to paint a Russian flag on the side. Russia tried to claim that it was now flagged under Russia and under the protection of Russia. In any event, we went ahead and seized it. Didn't seem to raise many eyebrows in the news. What did raise eyebrows is the fact that they were seizing the vessel because it was transporting oil that's obviously under sanction. Only one problem: ship was empty, and no oil on it. Um, what do you have to say about that? What do you have to say about that? I'm sure you're one of those people, if you watch this channel, who knew about the Bella, knew that we were chasing it across the ocean for a couple of weeks with a bunch of our ships and aircraft. And I'm sure you may or may not have known that it got seized and wound up having no oil. What ridiculous bull. Again, here, guys, this is when you do the ones from Reuters, just be aware. All I see is Reuters breaking news and then the Reuters website. So apparently, however you're forwarding that one, I need you to make sure you get the specific link, okay? From the Hill, yes, that one I already covered. We covered that. We covered that. We covered that. Covered that. You know what? This is one that you guys really should see on YouTube. I will again put the search terms at the bottom of the screen right here so that you can look it up. The video is called Trump Withdraws U.S. from Key Global Groups and Treaties. Why? I'm not going to comment on that one. I'm just going to include it. I want you guys to take the time to go and watch it if you can. It's not long, but it poses some interesting thoughts. Yeah, this one is just, come on. This is just getting so absolutely disgusting. This one again from Common Dreams, which, by the way, I recommend going and checking out Common Dreams. They do some. It sounds like a place where you would go to find, help me get to sleep kind of stuff, but no, it's a legit news site. More shocking footage shows federal agents raiding Minneapolis High School, handcuffing staff. When you start raiding high schools, or any school for that matter, first of all, get some morals. Pull your head out of your ass. Commanders, realize that this is a command that should be disobeyed. But when you disrupt a school environment like that, not just thinking of what you're doing to the children whose parents you are legally apprehending in the middle of a school day with all of their peers and teachers and administrators watching, as horrifying and horrific as that is, handcuffing staff who are trying to protect the children whose in whose who they are charged with taking care of is just disgusting. Disrupting the traffic, having incidents that involve violence, including tackling students, parents, teachers. Um, this is a real thing that's happening in our country right now, folks. There are literally jackbooted thugs um, pulling up to high schools in, 12, 20, 30 SUVs, blocking off the street, causing chaos, coming after the students, coming after the staff, disrupting the school day, disrupting the learning environment. If you guys are so bad at your jobs that you can't apprehend these people elsewhere, find another fucking line of work. This is absolutely beyond disgusting. I can't. Look up what's happening. Look it up. Just look up any footage you want on YouTube of federal agents raiding high schools, particularly at the moment in Minneapolis. Let's see. We're almost done here. Oh, yeah. By the way, regarding the shooting in Minneapolis, there was a DOJ memo that went around. I'm not sure what year. I'll put it at the bottom of the screen. There was a DOJ memo, and keep in mind that when the Department of Justice circulates a memo, as they call it, it's actually not a memo like you might send to your mom, like remember to pick up milk. A memo is a memorandum, meaning you need to remember it, and it's a notification to everybody. This is a rule that's changing, or this is a directive you are expected to follow, etc. There was a DOJ memo circulated quite a while ago that prohibits officers from shooting moving vehicles. So, everything else about this Minneapolis shooting aside, it was flat out against the rules, considering the vehicle was moving. And yes, that officer does answer to the Department of Justice. So, just, more of the same disgusting crap. 2 wounded in shooting involving Border Patrol agents in Portland. This one seems to be a little bit different from the one in Minneapolis. It was 2 individuals Um, this one's from USA Today. They were wounded, they weren't killed, and there are still a lot of questionable facts about that one, so I'm not even going to get into it. But I will link to the article down in the description, so if you want to see it. Um, Trump says U.S. will start hitting land and targeting the cartels, quote unquote, running Mexico. That's from Newsweek. Again, I'm going to include the link. No way I can take the time right now to actually talk about all the ramifications of that one. It's not for this particular series. Draining the Zone is meant to be short, quick, and get you guys up on the stories that are falling through the cracks. I don't know if that one's going to fall through the cracks for long. It's probably going to be very visible coming up. Next one from CNN Politics. What's behind the highly unusual move to block Minnesota officials from investigating the ICE shooting? You know what's behind it is that they don't want the Minnesota officials to actually look into what the feds are doing. I mean, come on. Do we even need to write that headline? Typically, and any federal law enforcement officer will tell you this, typically in any federal investigation, while the feds may want to take lead on the case, they always want to have as much information, data, investigative material as they can get on any given case. That's just good casework. That's just called doing your job, being a good investigator. They want as much as they can get. In this particular case, in a very unusual decision, the DOJ is essentially just blocking local officials from knowing what's going on, giving their input, looking at the evidence, anything. I'm positive that will change shortly, and even if it doesn't, Minnesota's going to mount its own investigation. It's just obvious they will. Of course they will. As Arizona ones would, as Colorado ones would, as New York ones would. Anybody would. So it's an exercise in futility to block them from getting that information, but that has happened. Again, link in the description. Democratic senator beams from ear to ear as she rips down semi-quincentennial displays erected as state capitol. Yeah, now this one I actually sent to myself, and the reason that I thought this one was important was, now it's true, it's absolutely true. First of all, it's a state house. It's not the regular Senate. And I forget what state it was. I think it was Oklahoma or Kansas, but again, it'll be linked in the bottom, and I'll correct myself at the bottom of the screen. But she admitted it. She was fine with it. She said the rules are that we are, as state senators, not allowed to put any kind of marketing material or posters or anything like that outside in the hall. It has to be in our office. Otherwise, we're not allowed to do that. There was a Republican representative who had put a bunch of posters out in the hall. The issue with this one is that PragerU was who actually produced the posters. And if you're not familiar with PragerU, if you're not a MAGA person and you don't know who that is, I'll put a link to PragerU at the bottom of the screen. Go look at who PragerU is and their about and their mission statement, etc. Maybe even ask your local friendly AI neighbor who PragerU is. But they're the ones that made these posters that were ripped down by the representative, and duly so. Next one, yeah. What an evil man, quote unquote. Fox host Jesse Waters profiles fatal ICE shooting victim Renee Nicole Good, and it's disgusting. It really was. Go watch that clip. I'll include the link to the clip in the description. Jesse Waters is a disgusting human being to begin with, and on top of that, a moron. And you know what? He might see this one day. There's a small chance, so I just want to make sure I'm really clear on this. Jesse Waters, you're a moron. You're a stupid person. That's all. Okay, Elon Musk fully endorses shocking call for white solidarity. That one from the Daily Beast. Yes, he absolutely did. He commented 100, the little 100 emoji, on an X post that someone had shared that was, yes, calling for white solidarity and essentially advocating that the Great Replacement theory is a real thing. And whether it's a real thing or not, it's definitely not something that white people actually need to be worried about. But there's a lot of people in my industry who thrive on convincing people that things that don't matter matter. Because no matter what, and you guys should understand this, folks like myself, right? So, and firstly, don't listen to me. Don't get your news from me. Get your news from the news. Click the links that I give you. I'm happy that you listen to my commentary and my analysis, and I hope you learn to trust me over time. I hope you learn that I don't lie, I don't stretch the truth, and that I give everybody references to everything I talk about. But you should know that we make our money on any engagement at all. So you hate what I do? Great, I make money. You say I'm an idiot? Great, I make money. You thumbs down my stuff? Great, I make money. You watch my stuff because you hate it? Great, I make money. You know that I'm wrong about everything that I say, and so you post it on Facebook to say, look how wrong this guy is. Great, I make money. This isn't about me though. This is, and you again, you're all welcome to look into everything that I do. But the difference between a journalist who works for an organization which will lose its charter or lose its advertisers or lose its supporters or lose its viewers if it's constantly lying to people, Fox News excluded, you should know that they work on their reputation. Their reputation is important, particularly those of the individual reporters. If you learn that one reporter is not trustworthy, you're not going to listen to them again. Whereas the less trustworthy or the more that someone lies to you on social media, the more money they make. So if your favorite place to get news is on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, or you have a favorite influencer, you better have been watching them for a little while and you better have started double checking. Is this person honest? Is it somebody I can really trust? A lot of the time, the answer is no. And we make our money no matter what. We make our money whether you hate us, love us, whether we're right, whether we're wrong. We can do whatever we want. And the sad, sad truth is, most of America is its primary news source these days is social media. Social media is the last place you should be getting news about anything. It is all, no matter how real it seems, unless you can double check it. Check the sources, fact check, and you don't have to do that on every single thing the person says. Look, if you are a viewer of my channel, you may not agree with me, but you can go and double check everything that I say, and there's going to be backing for it every single time. If there's not, there's something at the bottom of the screen saying I was wrong on that one. I should have, said something different. You need to start doing that with anybody that you ascribe any amount of trust to, or ascribe might be the word, but anybody, the wrong word, but anybody who you give credence to in this space, you need to take the first couple of episodes at least of whatever you watch of theirs and make sure that it's accurate. Not that doesn't mean make sure that it agrees with your preconceived notions. That's not right at all. At all, at all. You need to make sure that whatever they're saying is based in some kind of truth verified by some other reputable source. If they are not doing that, stop watching. Stop trusting. Stop listening. Don't believe. Move on with your day. Find a real news source. This is what is tearing the fabric of America apart at its roots. That is the God's honest truth. And you guys can trust me. I promise you that. But don't believe me when I say that. Check me. Make sure that I'm talking about real shit that has really happened that you can go look up somewhere else. Please, 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 please. Only two more. Next to last one. I for some reason I want to pronounce it Mikuski, but it says Mikasuki. I want to admit I don't know how to pronounce this because I don't watch any TV news. I listen to news from a lot of different sources, but I have not heard this story mentioned, so I'm not sure how to pronounce it, and I've only read the story. But it's Miccosukee, I believe they're the Miccosukee tribe. Blocked alligator Alcatraz. So this is a tribe that is down in the Everglades. They blocked alligator Alcatraz. Then Trump blocked a bill to return their land. So there was already an agreement to return sacred land to these people. They pissed off the administration by being against alligator Alcatraz and making it difficult for the feds to keep using that facility. So, like the petty little that he is, Trump decided to block a bill that would have returned land to them that was agreed to long ago. You can find this story on Grist, Grist. I do recommend going and reading that story. It really shocked me when I read it. Last but not least, Ilhan Omar and two other House members blocked from visiting ICE facility in Minnesota. Yeah, they got permission to go and visit because they are on the oversight committee. They were supposed to be there. They're supposed to look after these facilities. They wound up in the facility successfully. Spent 5-10 minutes there, and then two guards showed up, told them, "We just got word you're no longer allowed on premises. You need to leave. You may not take pictures. You may not collect any data, and you need to get off the premises." These are the people that we as Americans voted in order to have them keep track of our money and what our government is doing, whether it's right or wrong, and to make sure the Constitution is being followed, among a million other things. And they, in one of, a dozen cases like this, were blocked access to a building they absolutely had a legal reason to be in and every right to check up on. So, all right, that's it, guys. We drained the zone from January 6th up until today. It is now January 10th at 11:42 p.m. And I'm glad I was able to keep it under an hour. Um, Here's what I want to say, guys. As I mentioned in one of my emergency segments with you and Allison, please watch it if you haven't. Please remember to like, subscribe, comment, follow, share. This is no longer partisan for me. This isn't about Democrat versus Republican. This is about decency versus indecency. Are you a decent human being? Are you a decent American? And I'm talking to the people who are ruling us right now. Are you decent or are you indecent? Is power more important to you than virtue, as Ewan put it? It's something to put serious thought into. Be a patriot. Be an American. Virtue is more important than power. We are not the Roman Empire. And even if we want to act like it around the world and within our own borders, think back. What happened to the Roman Empire? And if you don't know, do a deep dive or ask AI for a short paragraph of what brought it down, because it's strikingly close to what's happening in our country right now. That's tonight's episode of Draining the Zone. I hope everybody is happy, healthy, doing your best to enjoy your time, and don't let me freak you out or anything. Let's keep understanding that this is America, and as Ewan said to me the other night, until the First Amendment is repealed, we are still free to speak up in this country. So keep doing so. Please remember to go to trumpnews.info. Please remember to like, subscribe. Please remember to comment. Please remember to share. And most of all, remember to give your loved ones a hug, a kiss, call them, tell them you love them, and remember to be a good American at the end of the day. An American who the founding fathers would be proud of. That's it from me tonight, Doug V with Reason Rises. This has been Draining the Zone. Have a wonderful night.